Welcome to the HSE Coach. If you are preparing for a construction HSE interview, this video will help you succeed. I've compiled the top 30 most asked interview questions along with clear, practical, and real world answers. Make sure you watch till the end because these insights can give you an edge over other candidates. So, the first question is, what is the role of an HSE officer on a construction site? So, the answer of this question is an HSE officer plays a vital role in keeping construction sites safe. Their main responsibility is to ensure everyone goes home safely at the end of the day. This includes implementing health and safety policies on site, conducting toolbox talks and safety inductions so workers know the hazards before starting their job, monitoring compliance with legal and client safety standards, investigating accidents, finding the root causes, and suggesting preventive measures, ensuring all workers are using the correct PPE and following safe work procedures. In short, an HSE officer acts as a bridge between management and workers to create a safe and productive work environment. Now, the second question is, what are the most common hazards on a construction site? Here's how you should answer this. Construction sites are full of hazards, and identifying them is the first step in preventing accidents. Common hazards include working at height. Falls are the leading cause of fatalities. Scaffolding collapses due to improper installation. Excavation cave-ins which can trap workers. Electrical hazards like shocks, burns, and fires. Heavy machinery accidents, especially with cranes, forklifts, and hydras. Manual material handling injuries such as back strains. Slips, trips, and falls from poor housekeeping. Fire and explosion hazards in high-risk areas. During interviews, you can also add that as an HSE officer, your job is to identify, control, and eliminate these hazards before they cause harm. The third question is, what is a permit to work system and why is it important? So the answer of this question is, a permit to work system or PTW is a formal safety procedure that ensures high-risk jobs are carried out safely. Examples of activities requiring a PTW include hot work such as welding or cutting, confined space entry like tanks or manholes, electrical isolation or maintenance, excavation and drenching, working at height. The PTW process makes sure that hazards are identified in advance, proper control measures are in place. Only authorized and trained personnel carry out the work. By explaining it this way, you demonstrate technical knowledge and practical understanding. The fourth question is, what is a toolbox talk and why is it important? Here's how you can answer this. A toolbox talk is a short safety briefing conducted before work begins, usually lasting 10 to 15 minutes. Its purpose is to discuss the day's specific hazards, reinforce safe work practices, give workers a chance to ask questions or raise safety concerns. For example, if today's activity involves scaffolding work, your toolbox talk should focus on scaffold safety, PPE, and fall prevention. This shows the interviewer you understand site-specific hazard communication. Now, the fifth question is, how do you ensure workers comply with PPE requirements? So the answer of this question is, PPE compliance is one of the biggest challenges on construction sites. You can ensure it by providing proper PPE to workers like helmets, safety shoes, gloves, harnesses, etc., conducting training to explain why PPE is essential, placing PPE signage at strategic locations as reminders, inspecting workers regularly, and correcting violations immediately. Leading by example, if supervisors wear PPE, workers are more likely to follow. Remember, PPE should always be the last line of defense, not the first. The sixth question is, what are the steps in conducting a job safety analysis? JSA. Here's how you should answer this. A JSA breaks down a job into smaller steps to identify hazards and plan controls before starting work. Select the job or task. Break the job into individual steps. Identify hazards in each step. Decide on appropriate control measures. Assign responsibilities and monitor implementation. Example, if you are conducting a JSA for scaffolding, you would analyze erection, use, and dismantling separately, identifying hazards and controls for each phase. The seventh question is, what is the difference between a near miss and an accident? So the answer of this question is accident, an incident that results in injury, property damage, or financial loss. Near miss, an unplanned event that did not cause harm but had the potential to cause injury or damage. For example, if a worker slips but doesn't fall, it's a near miss. If they fall and break their arm, it becomes an accident. Interviewers often ask this to see if you understand reporting culture. The eighth question is, what is a risk assessment and why is it important? Here's how you should answer this. Risk assessment is the process of identifying hazards, evaluating risks, and implementing control measures. Its importance is huge because it prevents accidents before they happen, ensures compliance with OSHA, ISO, and client safety standards, improves worker confidence and productivity. You can also mention the 5x5 risk matrix approach if you want to show technical expertise. Now, the ninth question is, what types of fire extinguishers are used on construction sites? So, the answer of this question is, fire extinguishers are classified based on the type of fire they are designed to control. On construction sites, we generally use four main types. First is water type extinguisher, color code the red, best used for fires involving wood, paper, or fabric now. Second is foam type extinguisher, color code the cream, best used for flammable liquids like petrol and diesel. Third is CO2 type extinguisher, color code the black, best used for electrical fires, control panels, server rooms. And fourth is dry powder type extinguisher, color code blue, best used for chemical, gas, and mixed fires. For example, if there's an electrical fire at a welding station, using a CO2 extinguisher is safest, while water should never be used because it conducts electricity. This shows the interviewer that you know when and how to use the right extinguisher. The 10th question is, how do you manage scaffolding safety on site? Here's how you should answer this. Scaffolding is one of the highest risk areas in construction, so safety is critical. Use only certified scaffolding materials. Ensure scaffolds are erected and dismantled only by competent personnel. Provide guardrails, toe boards, and stable working platforms. Inspect scaffolds before each shift. Use a tagging system, green for safe, red for unsafe. Train workers on scaffold safety and enforce PPE like safety harnesses. You can also add that periodic inspections during bad weather, like heavy rain or wind, are essential to prevent collapses. The 11th question is, what is lockout and tagout and why is it important? So the answer of this question is, lockout and tagout is a safety procedure used to isolate energy sources during equipment maintenance or repair, preventing accidental startup. Steps include: shut down the equipment properly, lock the energy source using a physical lock, attach a warning tag explaining who locked it and why, test and verify zero energy before starting any work. For example, before repairing an electrical panel, a lockout and tagout procedure ensures no worker accidentally switches on the power, which could lead to fatal electrocution. The 12th question is, what measures do you take to control dust on a construction site? Here's how you can answer this. Dust control is very important, especially during activities like cutting, drilling, and excavation. You can manage it by regular water spraying in dusty areas, using dust separation chemicals where necessary, covering loose material stockpiles with tarpaulins, installing dust collectors for cutting and grinding operations, providing respiratory PPE like masks and respirators, monitoring air quality regularly to stay compliant with site regulations. Controlling dust is not only important for worker health, but also for environmental compliance. The 13th question is, what are the main causes of falls from height? So the answer of this question is, falls from height are one of the leading causes of fatalities in construction. Common causes include incomplete or unstable scaffolding, missing guardrails or handrails on elevated platforms, not wearing or improperly using safety harnesses, using unsafe ladders or placing them incorrectly, poor housekeeping like leaving debris and tools on platforms. If the interviewer wants to dig deeper, you can also talk about fall arrest systems, lifelines, and rescue plans to show your practical knowledge. The 14th question is, what is an emergency response plan, ERP, and why is it important? Here's how you should answer this. An emergency response plan defines what actions to take in case of incidents like fire, gas leaks, structural collapses, or medical emergencies. An effective ERP includes evacuation routes and safe assembly points, emergency contact details for supervisors and authorities, first aid arrangements, and medical response procedures. Coordination with local authorities and hospitals. For example, if a fire breaks out, workers should immediately follow ERP guidelines, move to designated muster points, and await further instructions. The 15th question is, what is the difference between ISO 45001 and OSHA? So the answer of this question is, both ISO 45001 and OSHA focus on workplace safety but differ in their scope and application. ISO 45001, an international standard for occupational health and safety management systems, it focuses on continuous improvement and risk-based thinking. OSHA, a US regulatory body that sets and enforces workplace safety rules. In short, ISO provides guidelines while OSHA enforces legal compliance. The 16th question is, how do you investigate an accident on site? Here's how you should answer this. Accident investigation is about finding the root cause, not just blaming people. Steps include secure the area to prevent further harm, collect evidence, photos, and witness statements. Use tools like the 5 whys or fishbone diagram to identify the root cause. Recommend corrective and preventive actions. Prepare a detailed investigation report for management and authorities. Make sure you emphasize prevention. Employers love candidates who focus on avoiding recurrence. The 17th question is, what is a confined space and what precautions are required? So the answer of this question is, a confined space is any area with limited entry and poor ventilation, such as tanks, tunnels, silos, and manholes. Precautions include, always obtain a confined space entry permit, test oxygen levels, and check for toxic or flammable gases using detectors. Ensure ventilation is provided where needed. Use SCBA sets if oxygen levels are unsafe. Keep a trained standby person outside for rescue support. Confined space work is high risk, so preparation and supervision are critical. The 18th question is, how do you manage heavy equipment safety? Here's how you should answer this. Heavy equipment like cranes, hydras, and forklifts cause many accidents if not managed properly. You should conduct pre-use inspections for brakes, hydraulics, and load indicators. Allow only certified operators to handle machines. Use taglines, signalmen, and spotters to guide lifts. Define exclusion zones where only authorized people are allowed. Avoid exceeding safe load limits. Perform regular maintenance as per manufacturer guidelines. Adding real-life examples from your own experience can make your answer more convincing. The 19th question is, what is the role of a safety induction program? So the answer of this question is, a safety induction is conducted for new workers before they enter the site. It helps them understand site-specific rules and hazards, learn about PPE requirements, get familiar with emergency procedures, know where first aid stations and muster points are located. A good induction reduces accidents and makes sure everyone speaks the same safety language. The 20th question is, what are safety signages and why are they important? Here's how you can answer this. Safety signages are visual safety instructions that alert workers about potential hazards or mandatory actions. Types of safety signs. 1. Prohibition signs. Red. Example, no entry, no smoking. 2. Warning signs. Yellow. Example, high voltage area. 3. Mandatory signs. Blue. Example, wear safety helmet. 4. Emergency signs. Green. Example, first aid station. These signs communicate safety instantly, especially when workers speak different languages. Now, the 21st question is, how do you manage electrical safety on a construction site? So the answer of this question is, electrical safety is extremely important on construction sites because electrical shocks and fires are common hazards. You can manage it by using certified and tested electrical equipment only, ensuring all power tools and extension cords are regularly inspected, installing RCCBs or ELCBs to prevent shocks in case of current leakage, keeping electrical cables elevated, protected, or covered to avoid tripping hazards and water contact, displaying danger high voltage signages at critical points. Training workers on basic electrical safety and emergency response procedures. For example, if you are working near water, you must use waterproof sockets and ensure all connections are properly grounded. The 22nd question is, what is a safety audit and why is it necessary? Here's how you should answer this. A safety audit is a systematic process used to evaluate the health and safety performance of a workplace. Its purpose is to check compliance with legal, client, and company safety standards, identify unsafe acts and unsafe conditions, evaluate the effectiveness of safety programs and training, recommend corrective and preventive measures. For example, during a scaffold safety audit, you check whether platforms are properly secured, guardrails are installed, workers are using safety harnesses. A well-documented audit helps improve site safety and prepares the company for external inspections. The 23rd question is, how do you handle chemical safety on a construction site? So the answer of this question is, chemical handling requires extra caution because incorrect storage or usage can lead to fires, poisoning, or skin damage. To manage chemical safety, always refer to the Material Safety Data Sheet (MSDS) before handling any chemical. Store chemicals in properly labeled containers with hazard symbols. Keep flammable substances in well-ventilated, designated storage areas. Provide appropriate PPE such as gloves, goggles, and respirators. Install spill kits and emergency eye wash stations nearby. Train workers on handling, transporting, and disposing of chemicals safely. For example, if you are working with paints or solvents, make sure there is proper ventilation and no ignition sources nearby. The 24th question is, what is a heat stress management plan and how do you implement it? Here's how you should answer this. On construction sites, especially in hot regions, heat stress can cause fatigue, dizziness, dehydration, or even heat stroke. A heat stress management plan includes scheduling heavy tasks during cooler hours like early mornings or late evenings, providing shaded rest areas and proper shelter, ensuring workers stay hydrated by drinking water every 20-30 minutes, rotating tasks between workers to limit prolonged exposure, training employees to identify heat illness symptoms in themselves and others. For example, in extreme summer conditions, providing cooling vests and adjusting work shifts can save lives. Now, the 25th question is, what are the steps to conduct a fire drill at a construction site? So the answer of this question is, fire drills test how prepared workers are during emergencies. The steps are, sound the fire alarm to start the drill. Workers should evacuate calmly using designated emergency exits. Assemble everyone at the muster point or safe assembly area. Conduct a head count to ensure nobody is missing. Review the drill performance and update the emergency response plan if gaps are found. A well-conducted fire drill builds confidence, reduces panic, and prepares workers for real-life emergencies. The 26th question is, how do you handle unsafe acts and unsafe conditions on site? Here is how you should answer this. Unsafe acts and conditions are the root cause of most workplace accidents. You should handle them by identifying and reporting hazards immediately to supervisors. If possible, correct the hazard on the spot, like removing trip hazards or securing loose cables. Stopping work if there is a serious risk until proper controls are in place. Recording unsafe acts and issuing corrective action reports. Providing training to workers involved to prevent future violations. For example, if you notice a worker climbing scaffolding without a harness, stop them immediately, educate them, and enforce compliance. The 27th question is, how do you ensure compliance with local safety regulations and standards? So the answer of this question is, compliance with laws and standards shows professionalism and prevents legal issues. You can ensure it by keeping yourself updated on local regulations, OSHA and ISO 45001 requirements, training supervisors and workers about new compliance rules, conducting internal safety audits to identify gaps early, maintaining proper documentation for inspections and certifications, coordinating with local authorities during audits and site visits, for example, when lifting loads, following IS codes or OSHA load capacity rules, ensures both compliance and safety. The 28th question is, what is a behavior-based safety (BBS) program And why is it important? Here's how you should answer this. A BBS program focuses on changing worker behavior instead of just enforcing rules. It's based on the idea that unsafe acts cause more accidents than unsafe conditions. Key elements include observing workers to identify unsafe behaviors, encouraging positive reinforcement for safe actions, coaching workers instead of punishing them, involving employees in developing safety solutions. For example, instead of scolding a worker for not wearing a helmet, explain why it matters and reward those who follow PPE rules consistently. The 29th question is, what are safety KPIs and can you give examples? So the answer of this question is, safety KPIs or key performance indicators help measure how well a site's safety program is working. Some examples include LTIF, last time injury frequency rate, TRIR, total recordable incident rate, number of toolbox talks conducted each month, near miss reporting rate, percentage of workers completing safety training on time. If you add in your interview that you've used KPIs to reduce incidents, it creates a positive impression. And finally, the 30th question is, why should we hire you as an HSE officer? Here's how you can answer this confidently. I have solid knowledge and hands-on experience in construction safety, including implementing ISO 45001 and OSHA standards. I am skilled in conducting risk assessments, safety audits, accident investigations, and creating a strong safety culture. I believe in a proactive approach, preventing incidents before they happen, and I'm confident that my dedication and technical expertise can help achieve a zero incident workplace on your projects. If you found this video helpful, hit like, subscribe, and share it with your team.